So we're on to our final segment of the night. How does it do that? This is a segment where we give you a little breakdown of how something in the real world works, which is exciting because we learn something, you learn something, and we all have a little bit more understanding of the world. So tonight we are going to talk about credit card chips.
Oh, crisps.
Crisps. Chipses.
Credit crisps.
To be honest with you, I was curious about this because I have a card and it's got 2 years left on the expiration, but I can already tell the chip's getting pretty beat up. So I'm just like, how does this technology work? What is it? Why do we do it? ... All these questions.
How's it going to last?
How's it going to last? So I did a little digging for you guys. I did the legwork. You guys just have to do the ear work and listen up. So I grew up in a cash household where we didn't really use a lot of credit cards or even debit cards. And then when I got into college, I was like, why would I worry about carrying around all these bills and doing math? I'll just swipe it. So I got a debit card and it was sweet. And then about 10 years ago, which was about the time that I was in college doing all of my credit card, stuff, that's when we started transitioning into the chip. So I missed the cool swiping days. Which
Swipe it.
It's been 10
Swipe
years. Wow.
So they started transitioning, over to these chips, which are called EMV chips, which stands for Europay, MasterCard, and Visa, who are the companies who standardized the code, the chip, all that stuff. And what I kind of found, or at least gathered, was there's like a few specific manufacturer companies in the world. They're like, very boutique. This is their niche market. So there's only a few people kind of in this business that makes the chips. And I was wondering why they do this. The main factor is security. They're less susceptible to personal fraud. The magnetic strip, which used to carry all your information, people could literally just you started to be able to read those with phones at that point. And then or cheap card readers. There was this scam I remember when I was in high school that I saw where somebody in the middle of the night went up to the gas station pump and put like a fake card reader on top of the card reader so that when you pushed your card in, it went through and they scanned
my God.
Oh, yeah,
So-
they did that in Focus. He takes the ATM off. he's been doing this all year. Pops it off and walks
That
out.
screenwriter must have been from Northeast Ohio. But anyway,
That's
so
insane.
it is insane. So we've transitioned over to these chips because the chips are much harder to steal because they create a unique transaction number for every purchase. So there's it's a little computer in your card. And so even if somebody steals your information on the card, they can't do anything with it because by that point, the chain of progression is already broken. So people can't jump back in. So it adds a level of security.
What about durability? Did you get to that? Because with the
Yeah.
strip, I remember going to a hotel one time, and then we had this little portable speaker, and speakers had magnets in them.
Yeah.
So the guy had his the room key on the speaker, and he put it down, and then we couldn't get back into the room.
So that's because of the magnetization of the strip. The actual chip that goes into your card is like a microcomputer. So this is crazy. So just how do they even make these things? So they start with these giant 100-pound cylinders of glass that are about the size of a small salad plate. The diameter is a small salad plate. And it's just this huge glass. It's not hollow. It's completely thick. So it's just a huge cylinder, solid cylinder of glass. And then they slice it into salami slices. And from there,
The visuals.
they slice it into thin cuts, thin deli cuts. And
They got the meat slicer. I think you want it. And then they give you a little glass slice. Hey, try this one.
number 94.
Yeah.
They slice it up, then they grind it down even further to make it really thin. And then they insert the little wires, they heat it up and insert the wires into the glass, and they create all these little, essentially squares on it. And each of the rectangles is about the size of an ant, and each of those is going to eventually be a microchip. So one slice of cylinder can have one slice of bologna can have all of the microchips on.
How do the circles make a square?
They they cut them out with a laser saw, which was the coolest part of my research. A laser
Lasers.
saw. I can't find a picture of a laser saw on the internet, but I want to see it.
Is that harder than diamonds?
I think it's more precise. It's about precision because it's just glass. So they cut out all these little rectangles, and then these rectangles are further hooked up to little gold wires, and that creates this interface, which is essentially a microcomputer. And then they upload a code to it. This thing is no bigger than it's just about bigger than a grain of rice. It's crazy how small this is. And yet in this device, it's literally a computer walking around in your hip pocket, in your wallet. But it's that thin and it fits inside of a credit card. Okay?
There's got to be tiny conspiracy. We're switching over to conspiracy theory. There are tiny people that whoever is creating all this stuff has cultivated, and they're just able to make these things.
They're just building them.
Yeah, for them this is the size of a football or something, or normal size.
Yeah. So they're just working on a little assembly line.
Yeah.
People, humans have invented the video footage of these machines that are doing all this stuff, but they're actually not doing anything.
Yeah.
Because it's just the little elves, it's little baloney
Yeah, they're
tech elves. Little tech elves.
Little bologna elves.
Little baloney elves.
Bologna elves.
Yeah, they're just they're two-man sawing these glass cylinders.
You guys using the laser saw? Huh?
Yeah. They they flip up their little glasses they're welding.
Hey, boss.
Hey, yeah. Where you going to dinner? What you got for lunch today? Bologna.
Bologna sandwich.
Anyway, to round it all out, the chip doesn't carry any power, which is crazy. It gets activated when it goes into the card reader. So the
Same with me.
I carry no power. I get activated when I'm inserted. It's basically a dormant little computer that does one thing, and the code just runs.
Money.
Yeah, the code just runs perpetually, which is nuts. That it just is built in a way that just new transaction, great, and then it goes to the next transaction, so on and so forth. In a way, I was thinking about this. I wonder if this was kind of where the blockchain was born out of.
Yeah.
Because the security feature is that there is a point in time in a transaction and that code is changed. So that I think is just essentially what
Are these NFTs? Are these non-fungible tokens the transaction numbers?
maybe. But anyway, that's and the crazy thing is you can look it up, but the metal part of your card that you're actually looking at, that little square, that's not the chip.
It's not. I've been lied to.
No, that's just the
It's a
covering.
decoy.
The chip is underneath.
Oh,
that. Now that might be a contact for when it goes into the machine, it touches it. But that's not the actual chip. The chip is behind that. And there's a very small little kind of circular cutout in the chip or in the card. And that's where the chip is glued in and secured. So that's how this all works, which really blew my mind that it's just a little microcomputer.
Little guy just waiting to be turned on.
Just a little guy. But yeah, so that's why we insert stuff. Now they started getting into the contactless payment stuff, which is I don't even understand.
Yeah, how does that work?
You could do it
So
with your phone too.
yeah, so that's easy because your phone can create these near field signals is what they're called. And that is essentially is why it only works if it's in a couple
Proximity.
inches. Yeah. Obviously for security, but that's essentially just your phone creating a certain signal network that comes out of it, and the little device picks it up.
Are we going to start having hand cancer?
You have hip cancer.
That's a whole segment I think we should
Thigh
cover.
cancer.
But Elon Musk talks about this, that nothing, you'd have to have a helmet of cell phones perpetually strapped to your head for years.
Hey, people
To
are doing that. We don't know. Cell phones are relatively new in technology. We don't know.
No, they've proven that it doesn't do it. This is also a different particle. It's it's instead of a electron, which we learned about when we talked about microwaves, which can actually go in and disrupt stuff.
Yeah.
A proton, I guess, doesn't have the same. It's smaller, so the particle is different and doesn't affect you the same way.
That's what they
Look
say
at me,
now.
man. Look at me. I might be totally wrong on that,
He was
but
paying attention.
Yeah,
I was
maybe.
convinced I was convinced.
I don't know. This 5G, who knows?
This 5G, we're gonna just
Disregard
spot
all
out.
science.
Yeah.
It's 5G, man.
dude.
I could throw out
bro.
buzzwords.
Ball cancer, homie. Ball cancer. Keep that shit in your holster, not in your pocket, man. Keep it
Too
away.
close to the jewels.
Keep it away from the family jewels. Is exactly what I was gonna say. But really quick, the near field is created in a credit card. They like put all these little wires in the actual credit card. So instead of just a little chip in it, it's all these wires throughout the card. And then the one thing I couldn't figure out though is how do you freaking if there's no power in the card?
How do we know?
Coil interference and magnetism.
I guess. You say coital interference?
Yeah, coital. No, coil.
Coital interference. Coital interference.
Because interfering in
They
your
probably use
coitus.
battery in those bad boys.
If you want coital interference, man, that's going to be another Fubsy Bubsy. So yeah, buddy, that's how it works. How does it do that? That's how it does it. Everybody's got them. Everybody got those little chips. If it's broken, now you can explain to the cashier why it's not working.
It's your machine, not my card.
So insert it gently.
Yeah, you gotta be gentle.